Welcome back to Shadows of the Past, where we shine our light on the shadows of history. So I have less of a short story for you today, and more of a proposition. What if I said you could come chill and watch YouTube all day at no cost? You get your own house within protected walls and all the food provided. And don't worry, I'll be nearby. In fact, you'll be on my land. I mean, perfect, right? Now, all you have to do is just never bathe or talk to anyone. That is, unless I need counsel. And then I need you to tell me the exact advice that I'm looking for. And when guests come, I just need you to hold up York, stare deeply into his eyes, and contemplate your existence. And you'll only be doing this for, say, 2 hours. And you needn't worry about ever having to leave. I mean, why would you? Everything is going to be so great.
I wouldn't ever think of leaving.
Right now, I'm actually working on a longer episode, and it's taking me a little bit more to write and finish off, but it's going to be a hell of an episode once I finish, so I can't wait for me to be done and for you guys to be able to see it. I wanted to go ahead and talk to you about a topic that I had found in the meantime, and this is a bit of a lighter one, so a lot less doom and gloom, but still a strange one regardless. Being a bit of a hermit myself, and weirdly loving the outdoors, this was an instant interest to me. So I'm talking today about garden hermits, a strange job you could get from the 15th to the 19th century living on a noble's land. But it wasn't always what it was cracked up to be. From having not a cent to being a lawn ornament, let's delve into the shadows. So it seems that garden hermit started in the 15th century with Francis of Paula. He was a sickly child that was brought to a monastery to recover. He did and eventually had visions of becoming a friar. And after his pilgrimage to several places, he bedded down inside a cave on his father's estate. So I know at this point you're like, why is this guy not living in the house? And this was due to him being a mendicant friar. This meant he had taken a vow of poverty and would only take what was freely given to him. And I figure this is where the entire image of the garden hermit originated, as most hermits have vowed to never wash, shave, or cut their nails. They're also made to wear animal skins or druid robes, which are basically just long off-white robes. Though I imagine they did a really good job of letting that stink out.
I can smell it.
Francis eventually became an advisor to the French king, Charles VIII. This brought the gaze of many of the aristocracy. So when Francis decided to become a hermit on his parents' lawn, the French nobles decided that seemed pretty nifty. And they needed one too. The hermits were pretty much novelties for the aristocracy to use for their own amusement. They helped symbolize the constant need for quiet reflection among a world that was slowly starting to focus more on production and a busier lifestyle. And they fit perfectly in the gardens that were also being built for a similar reason. Just getting two birds stoned at the same time. They were usually not allowed to talk to anyone unless the owner of the estate came to them for counsel. They were also forced to stand in a pensive stance with a skull or hourglass whenever guests arrived, like some existential garden gnome. And where would this human diorama take place? It would either be in a cave or outside a grotto. They would also sometimes live in follies, which were basically comically sized small houses. These were the real tiny homes.
We are checking back in with Jack and Susan, who just moved into their 16 square foot tiny dream house.
We're so happy we downsized.
In exchange for becoming a living play, the garden hermits would receive a large sum at the end of their hermitage. And this could be as long as 7 years. I mean, imagine waiting for that paycheck. And in the meantime, they'd get free room and board. And hopefully, the hermit would be okay with their new living space, because they would be there until the end of their contract. In the early days, the nobles didn't even need to pay a hermit, as they mostly set up props near the follies and grottos to simulate having a stinky, hairy human of great knowledge living in their premises. They also circumvented this another way by having automatons set up in pensive poses. This happened to Father Francis, who ended up passing away in his 90s, so they just straight up tried to replace him with a robot. Most peers could tell that these were fakes and weren't exactly happy about it. I mean, you didn't get the wafts of the good funk. And there really isn't much out there on garden hermits, but there is one notable instance. Charles Hamilton built Painshill Park just outside of London in the 1730s. There was a problem though, no hermit. So Charles put out an ad in the paper asking for one to take up residence in Painshill Park for 7 years. The ad stated the hermit shall be provided with a Bible, optical glasses, a mat for his feet, a hassock for his pillow, an hourglass for a timepiece, water for his beverage, and food from the house. He must wear a camblet robe, and never under any circumstances must he cut his beard or nails, stray beyond the limits of Mr. Hamilton's grounds, or exchange one word with the servant. So yeah, not bad, right? And Charles actually had someone take him up on his offer. It didn't last too long though, as he got sacked after about 3 weeks. Being found in one of the local pubs, Charles should have obviously seen this coming though. I mean, what kind of devout hermit picks up the local newspaper? I mean, come on, Charles. So when I first heard of the job, all I could think of was how awesome it would be. Just getting to chill and be a hobbit without needing to speak to a single soul. But then the more I read, the more the degradation of becoming an object to the uncaring rich elite became prominent, which I feel is something that most artists tend to have to endure, just without the added indignity of becoming a zoo exhibit. But hey, if someone wants to pay me millions to live alone and play video games while I be an absolute terror to guests, I got you on trivia night, showers preferred, and I'm real easy to feed, just living off pizza and tacos. Just don't feed me after midnight, I mean, I spawn gremlins. You know, the usual. Anyways, thank you for delving into the shadows with me today, and I hope your own always remain behind you.